Welcome to part 2 of SecurityDNA's conversation with Mary Gates, CEO of GMR Security.
We're going to see probably a lot of new technologies at GSX.
Mm-hmm,
So what are, I guess, you most excited about regarding the
mm-hmm.
company's strategy, whether that's technology, methodology, any other ology you can think of?
Yeah, so I think from a technology standpoint, one of the areas that I think is really I think there's actually two areas that I think have the greatest potential for growth moving into 2026. The first would be robotics, and the second would be remote video guarding. I think those are areas that have the greatest potential for growth and client ease of integration into their security strategy. I know a hot topic for everyone is drones, and I'm very excited about drones. But I think when you start thinking about how to integrate technology into your security portfolio, robotics and remote video guarding are probably two with a low investment, high value return, are two areas where there's the greatest potential to have a return on investment and ease of integration that I'm really excited to have deeper conversations with our customers about and to help propel forward.
Excellent, excellent. I see seamless seems to be the word of the day as well in our circles, the seamless,
Right.
painless integrations. But kind of
Yes.
also going on the technological innovation side. It's funny we were discussing robotics because I wanted to get into the more
Hmm.
human side of the industry because
Yeah.
clients, I had mentioned something about trust before because
Hmm.
clients are essentially putting their lives in the hands of security professionals, even if that's not,
Right.
you know, perfect every time. They're putting their assets, the protection of their employees under,
Hmm.
in the hands of security professionals. So there has to be a lot of trust. So can you
Yeah.
balance technological innovation in security with that consumer trust?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think of it this way, you have to have the human element to begin with. And uh, kind of taking a step back, I think you really, before you can have the technology, you have to have the human. And in order to have the human, you have to have the security program. There has to
Right.
be a holistic security program. And I look at the security program as the foundation of everything that you do as a security professional. And it's almost like building a house, right? When
Right.
you build a house, you have to have a solid foundation. And that solid foundation that you pour is usually concrete or some other, solid substance. You don't just start out building a house with walls. You don't start building two by fours and putting up a wall. You have to have a foundation first. And that foundation is your security program. And that program always starts with a policy, with procedures, and then with standards, because you develop what is your security policy? What is it that I'm going to do and how am I going to do it? What is that framework? What is the policy that I'm going to have in order to protect my people, my property, my assets, my organization? Then what are those procedures that I'm going to follow and that the people of this organization are going to follow in order to keep themselves safe, keep their coworkers safe, keep each other safe, keep the assets of the organization safe, and protect our brand, protect our reputation, et cetera, et cetera. Then it's developing the standards. Now that I've got my baseline set, now that I've got my foundation set, now I need to look at technology. What are the countermeasures that I'm going to put in place in order to protect the people who are inside of those facilities, who are coming onto my property to help keep them safe? So you can't have the technology without first protecting the people. And you do that through your security program. So the people always come first, the technology comes second.
So what you were saying there sounds a lot like the consulting services that GMR might provide, the risk assessment, building the
Right.
foundations of a strong security program. So I was wondering if you had any success stories to sort of prove the point.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, definitely. And I've got two things that I can share with you. I've got, customer A who unfortunately contacted us after they developed their technology plan.
Oh no.
They had, yeah, they had developed, they had, gone in and spent a bunch of money, put in a bunch of cameras, and had really done a whole bunch of electronic things, access control, or card access, video surveillance, and quite a bit, and put all this into one of their properties, and then asked us to come in and do a risk assessment. And we were like, wow, you guys have a lot of technology in here. Let's look at your security program. Let's look at your standards, et cetera. And they're like, yeah, we don't have any of that stuff. We just put in, the stuff. Now we want to, find out, have you guys do a risk assessment for us?
Oh boy.
Well, very quickly, we realized they didn't have cameras where they needed to have cameras. Um, their losses were quite substantial because they had just theft. They were having all sorts of security incidents that were not on camera because they had misinstalled systems. They had cameras that were not being recorded because they were never put in properly. I mean,
Oh
it was a
wow.
disaster. Yeah, it was really, really bad. And it was because there were no documented security standards. There were no procedures. There were no processes. There were no playbooks put together. So we came and granted, they had spent a lot of money to put these systems in. So we came back, went in, re-engineered everything for them, started at ground zero, built the foundation for them, and then helped with the technology. So they ended up spending more money, but they ended up, by the time we were done, they had a proper security program, had their proper technology, et cetera. So that was case A. Client B came to us and they said, here's the issues that we have. We have these things that are happening. We don't know what to do. Can you guys help us? We did the risk analysis, identified what was going on, told them where they needed to have cameras placed, developed a security program for them, and all of the incidents were cut down by 75%.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, and that was 75% the first year, 85% the second year. So, those types of things, those types of successes, when you engineer the proper way, when you do it in the proper, take the proper approach, um, you can mitigate your risk properly. You can't mitigate risk if you don't understand what the risk is.
Right.
And you can't address threats if you don't understand what those threats are. So really it all starts with conducting the risk assessment, conducting your vulnerability assessment, and then identifying the solutions that are appropriate to mitigate those risks and those threats.
And so it seems like the difference between those two anecdotes was the first one really did try to do the two by fours just before the
Exactly.
foundation. So I'm gonna kind of
Exactly.
switch tracks here. Um, it is nice to hear a good security anecdote, because it
Yeah.
feels like there are a lot of very frightening stories in the news lately. A lot of
Yeah.
social unrest, people posting threatening content, geopolitics, very turbulent. I think in an environment like that where people are scared, trust is probably the most paramount thing there is. So how does
Mhm.
GMR specifically make its clients feel safe, kind of in this craziness, reassure them that yeah, things are scary, but you're with us, so you'll be okay.
Yeah, well, again, this is all about the work that we do in partnership with the client. We really come in and understand what their concerns are and what is it they're trying to solve for? What are they trying to achieve? And we build the solution that is specific for them. We don't ever go into a consultation thinking this is what we're going to sell or thinking this is what this client needs. We don't go in with any preconceived notions or anything like that. It's all about really listening to the client or the potential client and understanding what their not only what their needs are, but what it is that's concerning to them. Is it that they are moving into a new international location and they don't know anything about that particular country, or they're moving into, even if it's here in the United States, they're moving into another geographical part of the country and they don't know, hey, what do I need to do in order to operate in, I'll make it up, Phoenix, Arizona.
Right.
I don't know. I've never been to Phoenix. I don't know anything about Phoenix. What should I do? Well, that's where we can come in and we can tailor the solutions for them. It's like, well, we'll do an assessment on Phoenix, Arizona for you. You tell us where it is that you're thinking about going, what it is you're thinking about doing there, and we'll do a complete assessment on the 3-mile geography around a particular address. We'll do up to a 12-mile analysis around the particular location. We'll tell you, possible alternative spots that you should be looking at. We'll do a complete and comprehensive analysis on a particular facility. It's really about addressing any of the concerns that a client may have in order to ease that and address that fear
Right.
or that risk or those threats that they may be having. So it's really all about us just meeting with them and being transparent, being open, being honest, and making sure that we understand what it is at the end of the day that they want to accomplish, and us helping them achieve those goals, or always making sure that they hear what needs to be heard, and not always letting them hear what they think they want to hear, uh, because sometimes we do have to give them a hard truth. Sometimes it's important for us to tell them, hey guys, we know you really had your heart set on moving into this particular location. But we went out and did an analysis, and here's some of the risks around this particular site. But if you go 2 blocks down, there's this particular location which may be better suited for you, and here's why we think that. So, it's just really why we serve the marketplace, because for us, it's all about making sure we do everything in the best interest of our clients, because we don't look at it as a sale. We look at it as a partnership. And we're here to be partners with our clients.
Yeah, I mean, that seems the transparency especially seems very important, and the education as well.
Yeah.
Just letting them know, hey, this isn't going to work. I feel like
Right.
renews a lot of trust.
Mhm.
So before we finish up for today, I wanted to sort of get your opinion on the future, on the horizon of security consulting. I know we were
Mhm.
just talking about how quickly everything changes in this industry, so 5 years might as well be an eternity. But how do you
Right.
see security consulting evolving over those next 5 years?
Oh man, I tell you, it's really, even within the last year, it's changed so much. It's moved, who would have thought that I would be doing as much around executive protection as what I'm doing today. So,
Right.
the conversations that we're having now have just changed so significantly. I see it moving more towards, even greater, more towards the convergence of physical and cyber. I mean, everything's been, that's been the way physical security has been moving anyway over the last several years. But I think those conversations are going to go deeper. and become more meaningful. I think some entities have been a little bit reluctant to embrace it as deeply as others, just because of regulatory restrictions that some industries have or some sectors have around that.
Right.
But I think those are going to, especially now with the new administration, are going to start to loosen up a bit. So I think that you're going to start seeing a deeper embrace on that. So I really see those conversations um, starting to grow, and people who might not be as knowledgeable of the intersection between physical and cyber are starting to reach out to consultants more and more in order to have those conversations. So I think that's number one. And then I think number two, um, a lot of the geopolitical issues are going to continue to come into play, and what that means to the homeland and the potential impact to businesses, and what protection looks like as it relates to geopolitical threats. So I think I expect to see some conversations increase around that as well. And then the third thing I think will probably continue to be um, uh, more around executive protection. I think we're just skimming the surface as incidents continue to happen. I think the boards of directors is what I'm referring to. Boards of directors are going to have um, greater interest in protection plans. I think a lot of the organizations now that might stop the coverage at the CEO level are going to have a an interest in maybe cascading some of the protection down to other members of the C-suite based on events that are happening across various industries. We've seen so much that have happened in the political field. We've seen some of that carry over now into the business world outside of the CEO space. It's happened in the entertainment industry. It's happened in the healthcare industry. It's happened in the retail industry. And there's been some threats in the financial sector. So, it's touching all these different sectors. So I really feel like the EP conversation is far from over. So I think going into 2026, that's just going to continue to grow and escalate as well.
We've been seeing a lot of that in our site coverage. Um, but I kind of want to end the episode on a bit of an optimistic note.
Always, always.
So let's kind of talk about the future of the security industry as it pertains to, workers, new workers, whether that's
Mhm.
they're fresh out of college, they're switching careers. What would you say to, specifically as a woman CEO, to a woman entering the industry? Are there any
Mhm.
leadership lessons that you wish you knew as a young female professional starting out?
Mhm. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Well, definitely. And this, to me, this goes out to anyone who is interested in security and whatsoever. Definitely get involved in ASIS. That's something you should look into. Find a local chapter and get involved in ASIS. There's so much that you can learn by joining that organization, no matter what type of security you want to go into, whether it's physical security, investigations, cybersecurity, fraud, whatever, whether critical infrastructure, whatever the case may be, just definitely join ASIS. It's a worldwide group, and it's something that I think every security practitioner is that they just need to get involved in. So that's number one. Specific to the younger women generation coming into security, I would definitely say join Women in Security. That's something that I wish had been available to me when I was just starting out. Women in security wasn't a thing back then. It's definitely important now. It's a great opportunity for you to meet with other people who are in a similar situation, but also to have mentors available to you, and to learn and grow as you develop and identify, the things that you want to do in your security career. Girls Security is a great organization for underprivileged folks who are looking to start out in their security career. So that's one that might be of interest as well. But find a mentor and find someone that you trust, someone that is willing to share teachable moments with you, and someone who is willing to be a sounding board for you. Um, that's I believe in mentorship. I've had many mentors throughout my life, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences that I ever had. I've been a mentor to quite a few people as well, and both being a mentor and a mentee is a rewarding experience. So I would definitely encourage that as well.
Yeah, it's excellent to have that shared community, and especially when it comes to mentorship. You were talking about getting spoken over a lot when you first started. It's great
Yeah,
to have someone to back you up there. Be like, "Hey, she was
exactly.
trying to say something." And that kind of
Exactly.
propels you forward. So,
Hmm.
I think that's the perfect answer to close us out here. Thank you so much for taking the time to make an appearance on Security DNA. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, Sam. Thank you so much.
Our thanks to Mary. And thanks to you for tuning in. This podcast is your go-to source for staying ahead in the security industry. It offers sharp insights, real-time trends, and straight talk for industry professionals. It's built to keep you informed and empowered wherever you are. Stay connected, stay sharp, and maintain security at the forefront. To access our podcast lineup, go to podbean.com and search for SecurityDNA. You can also find our podcast on our Security Frontline, Integrator Newswire, and Security Week e-newsletters. Of course, we'd love to receive feedback from you, our listeners, about topics that interest you. If you have a suggestion, email us at Steve, that's STEVE, at SecurityInfoWatch.com. This episode of the Security DNA podcast was recorded and produced by Samantha Schober, that's me, assistant editor at Security InfoWatch, an Endeavor B2B brand. From me, Mary, and everyone at Security InfoWatch, thanks for listening and keep an ear open for our next podcast.